Hello, guys. Let's try this again. I think we're on take 4 now. Um, we're talking about the days of Noah and the passage Matthew 24:37. But as the days of Noah were, so also will be at the coming of the Son of Man. Um, and so, in order to understand what that passage means, we have to understand what were the days of Noah like when Noah went into the flood and what caused God to bring the flood. So we're looking in Genesis 6, 1 through 6. Now, Genesis 6:6 says, "And it repented the Lord that he made man on the earth, and it grieved him in his heart." And so Genesis 6, 1 through 5 is his reason for why he was grieved with mankind as a whole. And so let me read that real quick to you, and then I'm going to go into Genesis 6, 1 through 4, and then a deep dive into Genesis 6, 5. "And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with men, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God, came into the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, and the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown." Genesis 6:5. "And God saw the wickedness of man was great on the earth, and that every imagination of his thoughts of his heart was only evil continually." That's where I want to get to Genesis 6:5, because I think that Genesis 6:5 helps explain what the days of Noah were like. So it helps us understand what the world will be like when the coming of the Son of Man, that is Yeshua. Okay, so Genesis 6, 1 through 4 basically talks about giants, which were the sons of God, which is Bene Elohim, which is angels. Angels taking children, taking women and bearing children from them. So in Genesis 6:4, it says that they came and bore children through the daughters of men. And Genesis 6:5 is where I want to get to. If you go to a Blue Letter Bible, which is a really helpful resource, and you go to Genesis 6:5, pull it up, you'll see each Hebrew word that is used to translate this passage. I went through and looked at each Hebrew word, and I came up with a different reading of this passage that I think I want to share with you, and I want to talk to you about how my reading is different from the commonly understood reading. Okay, so my reading, Genesis 6:5, "Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man multiplied on the earth, that every invention and device from his mind was solely wicked perpetually." Okay, so you have that the imagination of his thoughts, of his heart, was only evil continuously in the common translation. Imaginations of the thoughts of his heart. Well, those are very, not only unknowable, very subjective. But when you look at Genesis 6:5 in the translation that I'll give you, I see something that's a little less subjective. He saw that the wickedness of man multiplied on the earth, and that every invention and device from his mind was solely wicked perpetually. Invention, it's that this creative idea, these things that the man creates and the devices that he creates from his mind, his outpouring of his thoughts and his imagination is solely wicked. So what he's using, or what mankind was creating, was only wicked things. They're creating evil. And they were solely evil. That's what their imagination, their thoughts, their efforts went into creating evil things. Their inventions were evil. Their thoughts, it was tangible. The things that they produced out of their mind, the ideas that they came up with, were solely evil. So I see that as more, their resources went directly towards evil as far as creating things to help them do evil. That's more tangible than knowing the imagination of everybody's heart, and whether that's evil. Is the resources of this world were going towards creating evil. So I think that is a little bit better explanation as far as what it was like in the days of Noah. You have the angels having sex with humans and bearing children. I want to do another video talking about this passage a little bit further in relation to the great deception that's coming in Revelation. So I want to tie Genesis to Revelation, beginning and the end, the way I'm tying Genesis 6 and Matthew 24, because they're linked. It's obviously says as the coming, as the days of Noah were, so will be when the coming of the Son of Man. So it obviously ties the two of these together. So I also want to look, the next video I'm going to do, I'm probably going to do this right after I get off here, or maybe tomorrow at the latest. We'll tie those two together, but tying all those together in one video makes for a very long video, and I found people who watch videos tend not to sit through a 20-minute video. So I hope you enjoyed my look at Matthew 24:37. It also has a reference, the same reference in Luke 17:26, and my look at what the days of Noah were like in brief from Genesis 6:1 through 5.